Jim, everyone. Welcome to our weekly all team tactical. We're going to use this time to sync up on what's going on around B Foundation, eliminate our blockers, and prioritize the work for the next week. Just FYI, the call's recorded. Um, and in case you forgot what we do, we help purpose driven communities use Web3 tooling to generate revenue and engagement. That's the hope, at least. On the like metric side, we had 99 transaction volume, so that's plus 31. And we distributed $325 to purpose-driven communities for the in real life events that people held last month. We had 11 weekly transacting users, which is quite a bump. I actually haven't looked into this number, but it's essentially our goal is to get to that number. So that's interesting. We haven't really done much on it though, so I'm kind of surprised that it's up there. It's worth checking out. 0 new users and 11 communities deployed, but that's kind of where we're at for our lead metrics. On the team-wide announcements, don't forget when you do something for BCard, just post it in the What Did You Ship channel. In general, we're aiming to have that flow so that it's a little bit less work between when you do something and you can do something small and go ahead and put it in the What Did You Ship channel. And then the hope is that we can kind of get that test token out to you, that black flag token out to you as quick as possible. We do have some standard bounties, card designs, articles, emails, and also we're looking for people to start calling nonprofits. So if you feel like you can do any of those things, feel free to take a peek. On the milestone perspective, as I mentioned, strangely, we hit our goal on the 10 weekly transacting users. Normally we have about 3 or 4. So getting to 11 is strange to me, but I can maybe check out why that surge happened in our metrics after this meeting. On the sports side, we do have a couple of open bugs to fix. Shelby worked on 2 of them. One is the transaction bug, and the other one is the snapshot bugs. I did review the code, especially on the snapshot bug. It looks like the code is relatively sound. It just looks like there's some issues with the implementation, couple small bugs, which I did leave a note for you, Shelby, on the product thing, which I think you got. But yeah, so the way I did it was I just pulled the code, I ran it, I created a vote on that test snapshot space that Tom had created, and you'll notice that that test snapshot space, it has a different type of vote. It has basic voting, but mainly for Black Flag, we do weighted voting. So that may be why you didn't see that bug before Sprinkles, is because you were only using weighted voting. But yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, so I couldn't see what I did because I didn't make a test vote.
Okay.
But I thought it was right. So
I think so there's a test vote up, and I think well, I don't know, maybe Tom, can you add Shelby's wallet to that snapshot space so she can make her own tests there?
Yeah, I think it's just token gated. If you hold tokens, you can make one, but I'll double check.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and try to make a
okay.
Maybe you should try it and just give it a go. And yeah, then you could test it. I mean, there are some tests up. Right now, there is our regular snapshot space, which has a vote up, and our test snapshot space. And I'm using both right now too, as I'm working on the voting for our community pages as well. So I'll be putting some tests up there as well, just so we can kind of, so I can kind of see how it looks on the community pages as well. So it's in the worst case, I'll be doing it, but you may as well learn how to do it too, because I think it's going to be useful for you.
Okay.
Cool. So that's where we're at on the support side. On the community pages, honestly, I kind of got sidetracked with CSS and configuration. I did make some progress on those fronts. First of all, I made it so that we're not using Tailwind anymore, at least on the pages that are visible. We're actually still using it on the pages that aren't visible, but they're going to look terrible. But that's okay, because I will, when we make those pages visible, I'll work on them. The reason I didn't want to use Tailwind is because in general, I'm looking at ways to make our components a little bit more reusable between sites. Essentially, I guess we're creating like a little static site generator, which has these like React components, which integrate with these little React widgets, let's call them, that integrate with Web3 technology. So I still have some work to do on the CSS there. And I also changed the configuration a little. I figured out a way to do it, I think, that we can have like our .env for our local and our build time .envs be different, so that we can kind of deploy the site and test it locally and then deploy it with the real credentials. All of this was very technical talk, but I was kind of happy to figure that stuff out because there was some open questions I had. But I still need to get vote submitting working. I started yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to finish it. So hopefully I'll finish that today. And then we can, hopefully when that works, we can start creating our next widget. But I think there's still a lot of work to do on voting, because in addition to that, it does not quite fit the mobile. So I need to like mobilize that site. Mobilize is the worst word for it, but basically make it work on mobile as well as desktop. Any questions on that? I know it was very technical, but yeah. All right. And after that, we're going to work on depositing. I realized as well, and this is for you, Tom, that we have Bridge, and there is a Bridge integration with Privy to push stablecoins over, and Privy has an integrated credit card situation. So what that means is that it's possible for us to do like a credit card flow, and it's possible for us to do like a bank account flow. All this to say that that this stuff is open to us. We probably just need to see what's actually possible.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
could be a neat little web app once we figure it out. I also think that like, well, with all these possibilities, it could be really confusing to the user as well. So we really need to work on simplifying what that actually looks like. But that's cool. I mean, it's better to have that problem, which is the problem we actually want to solve anyways.
Yeah, we always like to work on the easy street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just Discord's just saying there's nothing coming from the mic, but I was like, "What? You can hear me." Anyway,
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just checked that space. It looks like what's required is just bank tokens on OP, I think, in any denomination. So, Sprinkles, if you need a handful, send me your wallet address. I can shoot some over.
Oh, thank you. I've got bank tokens. Thank you.
Cool.
All right. Okay, so we're going to be working on that for the community pages, the in-app voting and endowment fund. We actually did get the August funds dispersed yesterday, and the September vote is now up. I spent a lot of time trying to get, like as we kind of discussed last week, trying to get Nouns some voting weight. The only issue was that, well, first of all, it was very difficult to edit the strategies. So I got on the horn with their support channel, and I found out what the mistake was. Basically, I was adding too many decimals, and it was like causing the whole thing to fail, which was annoying. It took me longer than I'd care to admit, and also because Nouns is well, they have a lot of people who delegate their tokens, and those delegated tokens, they aren't in a standard way. Nouns has their own way of delegating tokens, so I wasn't able to figure that out in the time that I had. We basically have to create a custom strategy for this, and the way to create a custom strategy is not easy. It's something that we have to like get approved and stuff. So I figured, you know what, let's just get the vote out, and we can take our time over the next month. If it's really important to me, I'll work on it. But if not, that's okay too. So yeah, our September vote is up. Long story short, and I burned a bunch of times trying to do what I said for Nouns, but that's okay. 10 high quality communities, working on our own communities, historical accounting. It is complete-ish. I just need the multi-sig to sign. So NF Thinker, there is a multi-sig transaction up there. If you use that link that I sent you, you can actually execute it gas-free because it's using on-chain DEN. It will use the multi-sig's own ETH to run that transaction. So we don't have to worry about reimbursing anyone for their gas. And basically all of the everything in Asana, everything in that kind of like governance accounting, in that governance and accounting channel has been taken into account. Everything in our old proposals has mainly been looked into and poked the people who were involved with the information needed, and all of the reimbursable expenses from after we got our donation round from our patrons is handled. The only thing that's outstanding from the past is reimbursable expenses that we got that we took on before we got any kind of donations in, and so there's about $1,500 worth of expenses there, mainly by myself, but some by NF Thinker as well. I just didn't want to put that up quite yet. Yeah, so we could talk about it if it's something that you want to get out there, NF Thinker, but I'll just leave it there for now. And then we're pretty much going to be retiring, I think, that method of accounting. So we will be trying to move towards more, or let's say less labor intensive, or less, just like quicker, easier accounting methods, with the hope that maybe we even build things that help us do that kind of stuff. Because if we do it for us, it's going to work for other communities. I've just said a lot, but does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes
Right.
it makes sense.
Getting organized is a good thing.
Thanks a lot, Links.
Yeah,
because
of course.
and I think the last part of that though is to like just consolidate all that stuff into our year-end reporting for the foundation and stuff. So, but I think
Yes.
that's in good shape now, and then we can move forward with newer and easier and better methods.
Exactly. I think like the less work that we spend on the kind of like business as usual, the more time we can spend on things that are actually fun and interesting for us to do. And that's what I'd like to focus on if we can.
Where did you send that link, Links?
I sent it in Telegram.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my Telegram is a bit of a shit show at the minute, so I'll have a look.
Yeah, the reason I sent it there is because our last multi-sig signer, Sam, I think she only uses
Yeah,
Telegram. So,
of course.
all right. So blog posts on our system. And so this is us basically trying to make quicker accounting systems. But yeah, I'm assuming no progress on this, Arcusty, but I'll just get it straight from your mouth.
No, I haven't made any progress on that. But
Okay, no worries. Let's move down to here on our Asana sheet, community pages milestone 1, snapshot voting on community pages, working on that. We have the endowment fund deposit and withdraw. Did you get a chance to take a look at this, Tom?
Oh, sorry, I haven't pulled out the work yet this week.
Yeah, no worries. Chatter widget is up, and wireframes for some of these. In general, I think like honestly, we probably need wireframes for the withdraw widget as well, and some of these other things. I kind of want to get into a little bit more of these wireframes after I get the voting done, because not only for community pages, but also for some of the things in our discussion topics, which include like escrow as well. So yeah, going to get into more of the kind of like product stuff for this, but I think this is still our top priority. Make it easy for our users to get, for our contributors to get tokens. We finished the last thing, which is historical accounting, and I don't know why it's not letting me. There we go. All right, and we have a CSV output for the multisig to run the TX. So this is technically completed. Done and done. All right. Black Flag Endowment Fund. What I really should do is I should just put these together, or actually split them up into some other tasks. But we'll see. I'll take a look at this a little bit later. In general, I probably need to do a dust off of our Sauna and our all hands document. And then finally, article using tokens to increase contribution. We already talked about this. Actually, I may as well add the things that Shelby's working on here into the all team projects, into this week, and this one as well. This week. Because we don't really have our thing. Okay, so we'll put it here. I'll put it right under here. Boom. Oh, and one thing I mentioned, Sprinkles, I don't know if you, I mean, you obviously made a branch, so you kind of know how to make a branch, but in general, if you make a different branch for each feature, it means that those features aren't going to be tied to each other for release, which means that you can get one done and we can ship it and then you can get the second one done, and we can ship it. So, did you understand what I meant when I said that?
I know what you mean, and I meant to do that. I just didn't go back to Maine and make a new branch before I went to work on the second one, so it was like too late.
Yeah, because Tom and I have just been like, there's a bunch of branch strategies we could do, but because Tom and I had just been working on it, we haven't been super clean with that. So maybe now that you're working on it too, we can think about that a bit more. But yeah, as long as you know how to do it, that's cool.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, and so that's anything else that we're working on that's not on this list. All right. So that was our Asana. Let's go into the what did we ship this week. I prepped and held last week's all hands, 2K BCard. I dispersed funds for in real life events. Withdrew yield for September. Helped Sprinkle sign into Vault Warden and updated our dev account. Our dev, I guess, Vault Warden account essentially. 1.5 hours, so that's 1500 BCard. Winverse taped and shared this week's all hands, so that's 2K BCard. I led the ops mate 500 BCard. I did the historical accounting and got a multi-sig transaction up. That's 3500 BCard. I posted the all hands on socials. That's 250 BCard. I checked and distributed the last 2 weeks of contributor rewards, and I posted our top contributors on socials. That is 500 BCard. I filed all of the invoices for the past couple of months, 250 BCard. I downloaded and reviewed Sprinkle's code. That is 750 BCard. I updated snapshot strategies, looked into the noun strategy, and talked with snapshot support. That's 1000 BCard. I posted the September vote for Black Bag. That's 500 BCard. And I did the CSS config and other such voting coding for 1500 BCard. Make sense?
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything else that we worked on that's not up here?
Yeah, I did the week 40 contributor rewards, and I thought I copied and posted my what did you ship, but I guess I didn't hit return or something. But I did that this morning before the meeting.
How long did that take?
It's on like 15 minutes.
Okay.
Same as week 39.
Awesome. And Shelby, did you just want to call out the how much time you've spent so far? I'd rather do this stuff weekly rather than waiting for you, because you did ship I guess you shipped it to pull requests, and I count that as shipping something. So I mean, how much time have you spent so far?
Like an hour.
Okay. Worked on snapshot and TX bugs. 1 hour, 1K card. All right. Awesome. I asked last time, but I'm asking again, just in case anyone has any other thoughts. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you. I'm gonna dig into that a little deeper by asking you the next question. What makes blockchain-based ticket sales better than traditional ticket sales? What is the benefit to the user? I might say. You're muted. Oh, there you go. what is the benefit to the user of blockchain tickets over over regular tickets like Ticketmaster or something like that? So I wrote that down, and the reason I asked the benefit to the users is because I really want us to always go back to those users. So direct connection to the artist,
I think
entertainment,
ticket
and status is
sales,
the way I put it. Which I think you think
in
that that
terms
kind of
of,
covers it. Entertainment and
concert
status,
tickets,
that
those types of
direct
things,
connection.
it
Okay.
reduces scalping and
Sprinkled lithium
enables
using.
the aftermarket sales for
Prevent scalping.
people. It also introduces things like long-term customer alignment. So, you buy a ticket to a concert and a year later you maybe get their new drop or you might get discounted tickets, etc. So yeah, I think ticket sales are a good one that it is being explored. I know somebody here in the UK who's doing just that. They're deploying that, and they're going quite well. They've partnered with some local sports teams, and they're trying to partner with the local arena to do concert ticket sales. So I think that's a good one.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I think like that idea of fairness, or like let's call it like transparency, even fairness and transparency.
Sorry,
I
I
think that
was.
that
Sorry, yeah, it was.
I
Sorry,
feel
what was
like
your
it's
question?
hard
Thanks.
to really describe that until you feel it. Like when like your description, Tom, like you're just like, oh, okay, this happened to me. I feel like you
Well, it's
you you
easier
don't realize you
to
need it until you
sell
need
your
it,
tickets
right?
on.
Like
You're
it's not
not
a
stuck
benefit
in
to
the
you
centralized
until you
system.
felt the burn. Which is, I
And
think, something that happens with
you
a lot of
can,
this
and I
idea of
know
like
that's not
permissionlessness and
always
stuff. Like
important
most
because
people
if you
just
look at
aren't
the number of
interested
ticket
in that
sales that
stuff
go out,
until they've gotten burned.
most people are going to hold on
So
to their
yeah,
tickets
not to say
and
that it's
then
something that we shouldn't
go to the
facilitate,
actual concert
just to
rather
say
than
that it's
selling
harder
them. But if you
to
believe
communicate
in
to users.
something, you might be able to get in early and then flip your tickets.
All right. What
And the
other
other thing
use cases
is
do you
having
think?
that connection to the artist,
I do think
right?
these ticket sales kind of like fall
When
over,
you
like
make
in some ways, it's like
purchase through
it is like
Ticketmaster,
that
Ticketmaster
bridge
then
between in real life and
controls
digital, because typically
what
you purchase
happens to that
digitally
data.
and then you
Whereas
go to an in real life event.
through a blockchain ticket sales, you are able to connect directly to that artist, and that artist is able to connect directly to you
All right.
and
Okay.
incentivize
So
you in the long
what
run
tools
to
can we build
stay
to
aligned
make
with
this
their
easier,
brand.
to make these things easier? And I think like we really want to look at these kind of, I mean, some people call them new primitives, which I think is like a very nerdy technical way of saying like smaller building blocks. And I think like when we're looking at these building blocks, we might want to think about what is the smallest possible
Yeah,
building block. Like not saying something like ticket sales,
Can
but like
like
that
prevent
ticket, that like a ticket sales platform can be
maybe.
broken down into multiple
Hmm.
things, like a listing service or like
uh-huh.
an escrow service, this kind of thing. The thing I put here is
Can we
decentralized
do
That's
on and
something
off
everywhere.
ramp,
about
convenient for small amounts,
the
an escrow
verifiability of
service.
the
And
queuing
we talked
system? So,
about an
like the
escrow service being
legitimacy
a
of
core building block of on-chain commerce,
the purchasing platform.
something that uses
If it's tracked on the blockchain,
that
it's
uses
all
blockchain
like
to make
imprinted in
things
real
easier to
time.
sell And then I
that
kind of go into
becomes
why escrow is
trackable.
important
From
here.
a personal
But
standpoint, I
yeah,
just got
what
some
other
tickets
kinds of building
recently.
block?
My sister-in-law and I were trying to get tickets at the same time, like side by side. Got on the website at the same time. Somehow I got in, got through the queue, got the tickets or whatever, and she was still like 3,000 people away.
I can
So
hear
I
you
don't
in a flicker.
understand the logistics of these systems. Maybe if they went through the blockchain, you could track them and be like, "What happened here?"
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Loyalty program? Yeah. I think like as well when we're looking at these community pages, if you're a Swiftie but you don't want people at work to know or you don't want like people at your church to know, like it's possible that you could have an identity and in one context it shows like all your Swiftie cred, but then at church it shows like your church cred. Hey, I come every Sunday, right? And so it's just like I think it is possible to have like, especially with verifiable credentials like ZKTLS and stuff like that. It's possible to have these identities coexist but be separate. And sorry, Tom, I think I also cut you off. You were talking about artists. Oh yeah, yeah. So loyalty program, yeah. So I'm gonna put it here, Mike Shinoda NFT. And I think like to build a loyalty program, you need a couple things, right? Like you need a way for artists to be able to distribute badges, right? And so like let's call it like a badge distribution POAP, right? So like that could be POAP, right? I still think that there's stuff we could do that. So you need a badge distribution, and then you need a way for to like have like a connection with those people. I think like email slash address connection. So this is really Privy. This is what we're using Privy for, right? Um, and when you do that, then now Mike Shinoda, he's coming to your town again. He can kind of or like let's call it a broadcast
No, not really. What? So for what? A gallery for what? What do you mean?
service email and address connection. So when Mike comes in for a loyalty program, you collect those, you distribute those badges, you broadcast that a new thing is able to do it, and maybe you can use a storefront and escrow service to give a discount to those people.
Why would I want to do that?
The reason I'm trying to take these things down to their first principles is because if we really want to create a parallel system, it needs to be at least as good
Well, you can
as
do it
the existing
pseudonymously.
system in some way. It needs to be good enough
Right.
to the existing system, plus it needs to be able to do
Do you
things
guys
that
have
the
any
existing
artist
system can't do.
NFTs?
There must be some sort of differentiation. And like
Happened
what is
again.
good enough plus
Well,
different, right? So
I'm a bit of a
maybe it's
collector
not like,
for-
Can you hear
hey,
me now?
I like we're never
hear
going
you.
to be as good
Yeah.
as a bank. Well, maybe not never, but like
I was
right now,
saying
I
you
don't
could
think
do
we
that
have it in our
synonymously.
ability to be
So
as
if you
good
were
as
a
a bank
secret Taylor
at releasing
Swift,
a credit card, right?
Taylor Swift
We just
fan,
don't have that in
you
our
could
capabilities.
be a
But
Taylor
we
Swift
can
fan as
do
your
some of
Swiftie
these things that a bank would
pseudonym,
never do, right? And I think that that's
and
what
then
we
nobody would
really
have to know.
want to understand. And when we build each of these kinds
But
of
yeah, I
things,
like the idea
we
of
want to make
having
sure that we're building them in some ways
in a way
that
it's sort of like your own
allow
fan
us to use them for
credentials, right?
multiple things. So hey,
Proving
some
that
of the
you've
same
put
things
in
in
the
ticket
years
sales
of
can be used in a
fandom.
loyalty program,
You
and
gone
we
to
could put like,
concerts,
okay, we get a storefront
you've done the
together.
work,
We have like this
and
escrow service, and this
those are all the
decentralized on and
things you
off
have to
ramp,
show for
and
it. In
boom,
a way,
look, now
it's
we have
kind of like
a ticket
what POAP
seller, and
is,
then we
right?
take
And
the escrow service and the
another
gallery, and now we have a loyalty
great
program,
thing
right? Like
that can
I think
be
like that's
that
when
can
we're
be done
looking
with
at some of these
POAPs
things, what we really
and
want to do is build
any
some of
sort
these
of blockchain
individual tools,
credentials really
or at least
is
pull together some of the tools that are
the
already
food
doing it,
industry.
put them
Um,
together, and then
really any sort
share
of
that kind of widget
retail
of
or
putting them
food
together
industry.
with
I
as many
did see
people as you
some
can,
people
because
doing
that is
this with
going to
POAPs
be
when they were coming
helping our
out.
purpose of bringing blockchain to the
You
real world.
go to a restaurant,
Does that
you
make sense? Like that's kind of
gather
what
a
I'm trying
POAP
to
each
express with
time,
these building blocks and
and
these
on the
use
10th
cases.
time, you get a bottle of champagne, or you get some sort of discount, or you get some sort of freebie. So, yeah, exactly.
Can you hear
Obviously,
me?
that's something we're working on currently, but that's a
Okay.
specific industry
Okay,
where
good.
it's quite helpful.
Sometimes a bunch of stuff is in my head. I'm not sure if it does make sense. Um, So last week we talked about escrow as a core building block, but we didn't really get too deeply into it because we had run out of time. Um, I think. Well, let's get into why I think that's a core building block. So a parallel system requires an economy. It's that kind of chicken and egg problem. You're not gonna buy into blockchain unless there's already stuff happening there. There's no utility otherwise. And an economy requires small businesses. I mean, you can have like one large business that's doing everything, but I think like especially for us,
Oh
looking
yeah,
at
no,
small
I was just gonna
businesses
say
is kind of the
personal
way to go.
experience wise.
And I think that
I
there are
hold some
missing pieces
NFTs
on
from
chain
Mike
for a small
Shinoda,
business.
who's
So,
Lincoln
with
Park
splits, you kind of get a
guy.
bank
And
account.
when Lincoln
And I
Park
think that
came
they're doing
around
a pretty good
recently, I
job of
got
it.
some discounted
And
tickets
I think
because of my
the payment
NFT. So
processing
I thought
side
that
is
was
handled by
pretty
blockchain itself.
useful and
So what's
interesting.
missing is an easy way to kind of
So
put it together.
maybe it
So
does
if you look
work
at
in the
like a
cyclical way that
traditional, I mean, let's use
Thinker
a
is
coffee
thinking about
shop as
as
an
well.
example. There's a bunch of different software you can use to run that coffee shop. I actually think that Stripe even has something that you can use. You can use Lightspeed. You can use, there's a bunch of like cafe specific software that allows you to take money and account it and distribute coffee. And what you need for that, you need this kind of like a place for the money to go. That's your bank account. You need someone who's going to process payments. So that is like take payments from credit cards and that kind of thing. And then you need something to put it together. And that's kind of like your Lightspeed or your Shopify or something like that. And so I think another way to put it is PayPal made it possible to accept money online. Stripe made it easy for devs to accept money online, and Shopify made it easy for any individual with no dev experience at all to accept money online. So that was kind of like the natural progression, I think, of people accepting money online. And of course, I'm simplifying it a lot. There are lots of other there are lots of other companies that were involved in this, and this is honestly like 30 years worth of accepting payments online in that one sentence, right? And so like that took like 30 years from PayPal to Shopify to today. That is kind of the way that it happened. First, it was possible, then it became easy for devs, and then it became easy for everyone. In each case, it kind of democratized access to it. So on-chain commerce has some missing pieces, but the hard part is done. Like the payment processing is done in at least in the amounts for small businesses need. So if you are, if I want to send money to NF Thinker, I can do it in honestly less than a minute, right? As long as I have his address or something like that, I can send him money in less than a minute. So for me to pay with credit card to NF Thinker would be much more difficult and take longer. Where was I going with this? And so what's missing is the UX piece for regular people. And this is the not easy part because many people need a reason to accept on-chain money. but it's also some of the missing pieces are related to the user experience. Right now, if you use your credit card to purchase something, you can be sure that you can do a card chargeback, or reasonably sure you can do a chargeback, right? Um, I think that 30 days, you can press a button and your money comes back. You don't need to get any you don't need to get anything from the merchant to say, but that is like a normal thing that people have in the world that can be expressed on blockchain with an escrow contract. Another thing that can be expressed is like, hey, milestone based payment. I will pay you 50% now, and I will pay you 50% when the job is done. And um, we can use this escrow contract to do that. So hey, I have the money. I'm putting it in this escrow contract. You can see that the money exists there. You can take 50% out right now. Go ahead, take it out. And you can use it to buy the materials you need to do the work.
Yeah,
Do the
that does make
work,
sense.
ship it, and then 30 days later, or whenever, like you can say like, oh, maybe we both kind of accept it, and then boom, you get the second half of the money, right? That is another kind of common use case that it can be expressed in an escrow contract, and that's really common for things like artists who have to buy materials. Um, yeah, and there are a bunch of other use cases exactly like that for different types of small business sales. If you're talking about a cafe, it's probably instant, right? You don't like if I get a cup of coffee for $2, I'm not asking for my money back. Or even if I am, the merchant can be like, okay, here's your money back, right? Like I don't need a money back guarantee on that. But if I'm getting a course, like, hey, Lynx is going to teach you how to do project management. Here's a course that I sell, and you get into the course and it's total garbage, and you're like, I hate this. I want my money back. You don't even need to implicate Lynx anymore. Now you just get your money back. Artists who have to buy materials, and a ton of other small businesses as well. This is where the idea of escrow contracts being the basis, the building block for small business, or creating that kind of like parallel system comes into play. But those escrow contracts, as they sit right now on Open Zeppelin's GitHub or whatever, they don't make it easy for anyone to use them. They don't make it easy for any small business to use them in this way. Yeah, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I would think that the artist wouldn't have a 30-day money back guarantee. I would think that they would have a different kind of, they would use the escrow contract differently, right? Like that's for us to come up with a different mechanism. But yeah, like most artists don't have money back guarantees, right? Because they like whether or not you like the art, they put time into doing it, right? Some artists. Exactly. Exactly. So you might not want to sell something to a brand new wallet, right? Like, hey, this is a new wallet. No thanks, right? Like that might be the way that you go about it. Or if you're someone who's just selling coffee, I don't care if it's a brand new wallet. It's $2, right? Like if they steal the coffee, I'll just kind of like I'm a real person. I see that they're a real person. I'll just ban them from my store, right? Like so. All this to say, that there are dozens and probably hundreds of use cases that small businesses could want. And um, is like for these escrow kind of building blocks, we really want to kind of start somewhere, handle a small use case, but like this kind of like end to end, hey, you want to create a
It does.
storefront
That
to
makes a
sell
lot
your
of sense.
digital goods. You go to our escrow website, it creates a contract for you, it creates like an item that you can sell, it creates like a web page that is just like a web page that allows people to like let's say for instance use a credit card or use stable coins to purchase your thing. It goes into an escrow contract. Maybe there's a money back guarantee. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want something else. But this idea that this escrow contract is kind of like your escrow contract that exists to handle your use case in that specialized way without any third party. That's kind of the idea of why of an escrow contract being a building block. And when I say escrow contract, I mean a bunch of different kinds of escrow contracts too, because you can use this in almost infinite ways. You could have a money back guarantee, which is essentially the buyer saying, "I want a refund." You can have the seller being like, "Okay, if you request a refund, I'll look at it. Maybe I'll put you back." So it's basically both buyer and seller issuing refunds. You could have just the seller issuing a refund. You could have a third party coming in asking for a refund. You could have time based. Hey, it's going to stay in this escrow for 30 days, and as long as no one pushes the button on either side, the funds will get dispersed. There's lots of different ways that you can use these escrow contracts. You could do it for subscriptions. That's what people are doing in things like what is that? Darn it, I forget. Oh, Stream. What is that streaming one? Streaming tokens, that kind of thing, right? There are so many different ways you can use these contracts, but in every single case that I mentioned, it's still not easy for a regular person to use it, and that's where we come in. So the steps to make an economy happen, which helps us get our parallel system, easy to make websites, easy to deploy secure escrow contracts, easy way to connect um, the websites and the contracts. And if we handle all the above, we are creating value. And we could potentially take a percent of sales or an upfront deployment fee. If we have these incoming fees, we can create an economy for ourselves. So remember, I mean, we've talked about this a couple times. When we got into Bankless DAO, essentially we built a city, but that city was built on foundations of sand because we didn't have an economy. If we create some of these things, some of these like easy to make websites, easy to accept crypto and these kinds of things, we can, if it's valuable, if hey, like you want to sell something online and we say, hey, we have a website that you type in your item information and it creates a little website for you and you own that contract. You know, we don't own that contract, you own that contract, and we charge an upfront fee for it. Let's say we charge $5 to deploy a new contract for you. That is the beginnings of an economy, right? Um, there is some income there that we can use to pay for city services. I think I may be putting a bunch of metaphors together, but does that make sense? Are you guys following me? Exactly.
Well,
Sometimes
I mean, I
I
I
guess like there is
I
a concept of a
kind of
network state that,
pause
you know,
at the idea
Balaji
of money back
talks
guarantee,
about where
money
it
back
really
in 30 days
is
type of thing,
like land. It's
because
a network state that you
even
require land
in
to do.
traditional financial
I see
terms,
a
I mean, if you're
network
just getting,
state
if
as
you're paying
being
by credit card
something
or
that could
whatever,
just
they'll
be
send your money back. Um,
landless. So
if
it
you
is the
don't
state of
have someone
ideas. You
verifying
started with your
the
family,
person who's
and we had these kind of
requesting their
family
money
units
back,
then
could
a
easily
couple
be
of families
somebody
got
who's just
together and
doing it all the
created
time, right?
tribes, and you had these tribes
They
going
sign up
together.
for a
A
course,
couple of
take
tribes came
advantage of the
together
course,
and
get their money
started to
back,
farm,
and
and that
then
is how you
that's
created
going to be,
kind of
especially if you have
villages and
actual
cities.
physical
And then
deliverables, you
you
can
started
have
to
10
get some of
different
these cities
wallets,
coming
sign
together,
up,
and that's how
get
you
the
started to
physical
create
deliverable, ask for their money
this
back
idea
because they're
of
not happy,
Westphalian
and
nations.
then
So
the artist goes out of
what
business.
is
So how do you
the
protect
next
against those
stage beyond
things?
that? It could be, hey, we're going to go for new planets, or it could be, hey, we are a state of ideas. We exist in land, but the state
Mhm.
itself that we are part of exists only on the internet. That I think was something that was really a potential of Bankless DAO, but it wasn't possible
Yeah,
without an
I don't have
economy.
a money. I don't have money back for my photography. If somebody
I
doesn't
think
like
we can make it
the
possible
art, it's in the
if we
contract,
figure out
and
how to
I
drive
have
that economy.
creative license to produce whatever I desire, as long as it fits. As long as it fits with what we've decided, I then have creative license to produce whatever, as long as it's within that realm. Um, I suppose with blockchain, you with somebody using the same wallet, you could then
Yeah.
send them um, a soul-bound token to that wallet that says that they have had a cash back,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
it'll
like as
be,
well, like when you have a
down to the
land-based
protocol to
economy,
decide
it's
whether or not they
relatively
actually
easy
make the
for
purchase in the
a
first
state
place,
to levy
or allow the
taxes
purchase in the first
and
place, in
have
light
some of
of
that value
if they've
accrue
already
back to the
requested
state,
cash back
right?
five
Hey, you're not going to
times.
leave your
We
farm.
might not want
Your
to sell
farm
something
exists
to that
here.
person.
Your crop exists here. When you sell it, we know where you live and we know where you're going to go for more crops. That did not exist at Bankless DAO, and so there was no way to accrue value back to the DAO except via people's good graces, I would say, essentially, right? Like you were just hoping people would do things. But if you have these kinds of like, hey, we are facilitating a transaction, we are providing value and making it easy for you to accept transactions, then all of a sudden it's just like, hey, you know what? I do want to use your technology. I will pay to put out new smart contracts. You guys are doing it easily. Then all of a sudden you can create a reason for people to drive value back to the state. It's kind of like a new tax system that derives based upon benefit to you rather than you live in this land and therefore you owe us taxes, otherwise we're going to hurt you, right? It is a different look at taxes. It's taxes as membership fees rather than um, taxes as like required required based upon where you live. Anyways, we gotten pretty heavy into more of the philosophical stuff here, but yeah. Any thoughts on this? We only got about 2 minutes left, but yeah, I mean, to bring it back to what we're doing, I mean, which part are you hoping to make? Yeah, I would like to work on the escrow. Right now, I think I'm focused on this easy to make websites, and I think for the escrow thing, what we want to do is basically create a, let's call it a contract deployer, where it's a website that deploys a contract and deploys a website for you as well. Um, so yes, we're building it. It's slow going, but that's the kind of intent. And probably have to spend more product work on it in terms of like defining what it actually means, how the pieces fit together, and putting it down into a document. But yeah, let's build it. I mean, so like, WordPress is still one of the website tools that is the most used in the world. I think over 50% of the websites in the world are on WordPress. But I think Shopify is easier than WordPress. Have you used Shopify? Yeah, and Wix, right? So like easier than WordPress, I think is possible now. And I think that it's not. I don't think that what it means to be easy to make is well defined yet. I think we still need to kind of iterate on that. But yes, easy to make websites for the user, and easy to make websites for us. We can just deploy something and the users can change it relatively easily. All right, we're at time here. Any other comments before we break? Okay, so I just want to say thanks to everyone for being here. I think it's really valuable for us to come together to discuss this stuff. I mean, personally, I look at the state of the crypto industry right now, and there's not a lot of people who are doing things that I think are really that interesting to me. That it's like a lot of, I think there's like a lot of, let's say, tradfi in crypto who are using crypto for adoption, which is fine. You know, that's part of the adoption cycle, right? People are quietly putting it into their infrastructure. But the reason I came into crypto is different. It's not because I wanted it to buff our existing institutions. What I'm really hoping from crypto is to take us to the next level of organizations, the next level of commerce, the next level of business, something different from what we have now. Because quite frankly, I'm not super happy with what we have now, and I want to have something that tends more towards freedom. And so I'm just really grateful to have all of you here with whom I can discuss these kinds of things, because I think it's only through discussion that I can really act. So thank you everyone for being here. And to your point, Sprinkles, yeah, let's absolutely build this thing. It could take us some time, but let's do it. I think that in doing so, whether or not it's a success, we will be making the world better in our own way. One brick at a time, absolutely.
Yes.
Yep, I'm with you. You got to build it on
Thanks.
stability.